The Amazing Digital Circus broke records, over 500 million views, trending worldwide, merchandise everywhere, and a fandom that exploded almost overnight. But there's something people don't talk about enough, or maybe something many prefer not to talk about at all, the dark side of all this. And I'm not talking about the show itself, because we already know TADC hides some pretty heavy themes under that colorful aesthetic. I'm talking about the fandom, the controversies that have surrounded this series since the pilot blew up on the internet. Some are just typical fan debates, others are rumors circulating through social media, and some, honestly, left me pretty surprised when I looked into them. So, today, we're going through all of it, the 10 biggest controversies of the Amazing Digital Circus. And trust me, there's stuff here you probably didn't know. The harassment against the creator. This is probably the most serious controversy on this list, and unfortunately, one that says a lot about how certain parts of fandoms can become genuinely harmful. Gooseworx, the creator of the Amazing Digital Circus, deactivated her Reddit account after facing backlash from fans. The trigger? She confirmed in a live stream that Pomni and Jax were the main characters of the show. That's it. That was the statement, and it was enough to unleash insults, personal attacks, and massive arguments. Fans of other characters felt their favorites were being sidelined. Some took it personally enough to harass the creator directly. Now, here's something important. Gooseworx later clarified on social media that she wasn't harassed off Reddit, at least not entirely for that reason. She mentioned having a breakdown from other stuff that had been building up over the past few months, but the timing of her departure, combined with the visible backlash she was receiving, painted a pretty clear picture for many observers. There was even a hashtag, #LoveForGooseworx, created by fans who wanted to show support after what happened. The Crunch Accusations. We're moving away from the fandom now and into the studio itself. In early 2024, former employees and animators started speaking out about the work environment at Glitch Productions. The accusations included very long work hours, deadlines considered impossible, constant pressure to finish episodes, and not enough staff to handle the workload. Some testimonies claimed animators had to work overtime or even stay overnight to meet deadlines. Negative reviews also appeared on Glassdoor, describing poor management, micromanagement, and few opportunities for growth. This generated a lot of discussion because the studio had always promoted itself as an indie company. The brothers Kevin and Luke Lerdvichagul had built their reputation as relatable creators who started making videos from their bedroom in Australia. So seeing these accusations felt like a betrayal to some fans. Others pointed out that crunch culture is unfortunately common in the animation industry, not just at Glitch. Neither perspective excuses it, but it adds context to how widespread the problem is. Accusations against the CEO. Much of the criticism was directed specifically at Kevin Lerdvichagul, one of the founders of the studio. Some former employees accused him of extreme pressure on animators, poor team management, and fostering a negative work environment. There were also circulating accusations of possible blacklisting of former employees and workplace harassment. In March 2024, Kevin released an 8-paragraph statement addressing the controversies. He acknowledged that during the early phases of Glitch, he was inexperienced. He admitted there had been mismanagement and hardships for employees when they first brought on their animation team. He apologized for those poor early experiences and claimed he had made it a priority to improve management, hiring a new team to look after the business. He also denied the overtime and crunch allegations, stating that deadlines were routinely pushed back for employees. Several current employees came forward supporting Kevin's statement, saying their experience at Glitch had been positive. The response was accepted by most fans, though some remained skeptical. What nobody addressed was the Celeste Notley Smith situation, the original voice of Tari, who was replaced without being notified, which had been the trigger for all these testimonies coming out in the first place. These accusations were never proven publicly, but they generated a massive wave of debates in the community that still echoes today. Pablo Gandolfo, the voice that disappeared. Now, we're entering more recent and more serious territory. If you watched Digital Circus in Spanish, Latin American dub, you probably noticed something strange in episode 8. Jax sounded different. That's because Pablo Gandolfo, the voice actor who had been voicing the character since the pilot, was let go from the project. And he found out basically when everyone else did. According to statements from the actor himself, his departure was due to the publication of certain videos before the premiere that were considered inappropriate by the production. But here's where it gets complicated. According to several sources, these videos were actually fan-made audio clips that some people mistakenly believed were leaked content from the final episodes, falsely accusing Gandolfo of leaking spoilers. He was replaced by Luis Leonardo Suarez, who's known for voicing Stolas in Hell of a Boss. The fan reaction was divided. Many protested the recasting and asked for him to be rehired. Others accepted the new voice. There are even petitions circulating asking for Gandolfo to return for the final episode. What surprised me was how suddenly this happened, right at the end of the series with just 2 episodes left. The whole thing feels like there was a misunderstanding that escalated too quickly. The kids show that isn't for kids. Now, moving away from the serious stuff, let's talk about a debate that's been going on since the pilot dropped. You see the bright colors, the characters that look like they came straight out of a 90s children's show, that catchy intro music, and you think it's something for kids. And honestly, a lot of parents thought the same thing. But then you see Pomni having anxiety attacks, characters trapped in a digital simulation they can't escape from, something called abstraction. That's basically the representation of completely losing your mind, and you realize this isn't exactly Paw Patrol. Common Sense Media, one of the most consulted websites by parents to check if content is appropriate, says it clearly. The colorful aesthetic appears child-friendly, but it contains dark themes, psychological horror, and mature content that can be disturbing for younger viewers. The recommendation is for teens and adults. But of course, that didn't stop millions of kids from watching the series, sparking an entire debate about whether Digital Circus is responsible for deceiving its audience with its appearance. I think Gooseworx never intended to make something for children, but I understand why the confusion exists. The problem is, this debate keeps resurfacing every time a new episode drops. The Jax Obsession. Speaking of debates, there's one character that generates endless discussions. Jax, the purple rabbit who became one of the most popular characters in independent animation right now. Even Gooseworx herself has said Jax is one of her favorite characters, but that created something interesting. On one side, fans who love the character and argue that his sarcastic and seemingly cruel attitude is actually a defense mechanism, something episode 5 confirmed pretty directly. On the other side, fans who believe he gets too much spotlight and steals screen time from other characters. And then there's the third group, the one that creates, let's say, extremely adult content of the character, fan art that crosses lines I'm not going to describe here. This sparked massive discussions within the community about the limits of fan content. The Jax debate isn't going away anytime soon. He's polarizing by design. Some find him hilarious, others can't stand him. And the fact that the creator clearly loves writing him only adds fuel to both sides. The ship wars. If you follow animated series, you probably already know how this works. Fans pair characters together, sometimes innocently, sometimes with extreme intensity. In Digital Circus, the most popular ships are Pomni with Jax, Pomni with Regatha, Jax with Regatha, and Zubul with Gangle. Sounds harmless until you find out there were fans who literally threatened other fans for not supporting their favorite ship. From what I could find across several forums, the creator herself had to publicly ask fans not to attack each other over this stuff. This isn't new in big fandoms. It happened with Steven Universe, it happened with Voltron, it happened with so many series. But it's always disappointing to see how a community that supposedly loves a story about characters trying to survive together ends up fighting in such aggressive ways. Some say this is why the TADC fandom has a reputation for being toxic, though I honestly think it's a very loud minority, but the reputation is already there. Diagnosing the Characters. This one is controversial for different reasons. In various fan communities, Reddit, Twitter, Tumblr, it became common to psychologically diagnose the characters. Pomni has severe anxiety. Jax is a sociopath. Ragata suffers from childhood trauma. This last one was partially confirmed in episode 5, where we see her mother was verbally abusive. Gangle has clinical depression, and so on with every character. The problem is, some fans started pointing out that this behavior trivializes real mental disorders, that people are projecting personal issues onto fictional characters, and that it's not healthy to use these characters as proxies for self-diagnosis. Others argue that seeing representations of these mental states in fiction can be therapeutic and helps process personal experiences. I'm not going to tell you which side is right, because honestly, I think both have valid points, but the debate exists and generates pretty intense discussions every time a new episode with character development comes out. Theories darker than the show. Speaking of theories, this controversy I find particularly interesting. The Digital Circus fandom has a habit of generating theories that are considerably darker than the show itself. Theories that the characters are in a coma in the real world, that the circus is some kind of digital prison for criminals, that some characters were already dead before entering the game, that Jax genuinely enjoys watching others suffer as some kind of sadist. Some of these theories have some basis in what we see in the series, but others go much further. And here's the debate. There are fans who say these theories ruin the tone of the show, that TADC has dark comedy but isn't explicit horror, and that projecting these levels of darkness is misinterpreting what Gooseworx is trying to tell. Others argue that the series invites these interpretations by leaving so many mysteries unresolved. Personally, I think theories are a natural part of any fandom, but I understand why some feel uncomfortable when speculation becomes too extreme. The Hidden ARG Theory. This one fascinates me. There's a sector of the fandom completely convinced that the Amazing Digital Circus hides an ARG, an alternate reality game, basically a game with clues hidden in the content. The theory started because some fans noticed codes in the backgrounds of certain episodes. The file names of the episodes contain numbers that seem significant, and the Glitch Productions website supposedly has hidden images. After episode 8 premiered, a website called caneandabel.com appeared that fed these theories even more. But here's the interesting part. According to several technical analyses, that site appears to be a very well-made fan creation, not something official from Glitch Productions. The domain is registered on a Brazilian server, not on the servers the production company normally uses. That didn't stop fans obsessed with finding clues. There are people analyzing image metadata, searching for hidden messages in promotional posters, reviewing the source code of every page related to the series. So far, there's no concrete evidence that an official ARG exists, but the mystery keeps feeding theories, and honestly, I get why. The show itself has an atmosphere of mystery that invites you to look deeper. There you have it. 10 controversies surrounding the Amazing Digital Circus. Some are just internet drama, the kind that happens in every big fandom. Others, like the Harassment Against Gooseworx or the Workplace Accusations, are genuinely concerning and deserve to be talked about. I think TADC is a fantastic series. The animation is incredible, the story is surprisingly deep, and the characters have resonated with millions of people around the world for good reason. But no fandom is perfect, and pretending these issues don't exist doesn't help anyone. If you're part of this community, be the kind of fan that makes creators happy to interact with their audience, not the kind that makes them want to disappear from social media. With the final episode coming soon, let's hope the series ends on a high note and the community can celebrate together instead of fighting. What do you think? Did you know about all these controversies? Is there anything I missed? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing. It really helps the channel. Thanks for watching.